Yes, my fellow warriors of life. I really am here to tell you why Shrek would be the perfect Smellovision picture. But before I get into anything, this will require a mini history lesson. We have to go all the way back to Hollywood's golden days. This was when movies were still pretty young to the world, and people were excited to see any of them. Before television sets, going to the movies was something everyone did once to twice a week, because studios were pumping out films that quickly. In cities, theaters were practically on every single block. Additionally, going to the movies was a much bigger deal than it is today. Theaters often put on skits or musical numbers before the picture. Many of you may know that it didn't stop there. Usually people got to see a newsreel and a cartoon before the movie began. Going to the theater was a grand experience that was affordable to the common man. But in the 50s, something would be invented that would irreversibly change the film industry forever, and that was the television set. At first, this didn't pose too much of a problem for Hollywood, since only wealthy people could afford one anyway, but the exponential growth in televisions being purchased each year is actually mind-bogglingly, staggeringly huge. And before they knew it, the film industry was watching their dominating monopoly fail. There was no longer a reason for people to go out of their way to see a movie, nor go as frequently when they could just stay in the comfort of their own home to watch shows for free. Theaters all over the country shut their doors for good. So what did the typical CEOs do of that time? They tried any gimmick they could to get people back into their sinking ships. Most people are familiar with 3D, which is the gimmick requiring the red and green glasses to make images in the movie appear to pop out. And yeah, that gimmick was okay. But the gimmick you likely haven't heard of was called Smellovision. Smellovision completely flopped, guys. Oh my gosh. After only 2 showings, the gimmick was shelved away, only to be brought back as a scratch and sniff movie from an eccentric director. That's a story for another day. Smellovision was basically what it sounds like. When something in a film happened that would normally use your olfactory senses, different smells were piped out from tubes sticking out of the seats in front of the audience members. Breakfast, food smells. Gunshots, gunpowder. It's a nice idea, except...
Aren't we forgetting one teensy-weensy but ever so crucial little tiny detail?
The smells lingered. Unlike 4D, where you might get a misty spray for water or a shaky chair to signify a giant thumping around and shaking the ground, the scents couldn't be confined to any specific moment. So while a gunshot scene might have had a gunpowder smell, the same smell would ruin the illusion of the next scene that would have nothing to do with gunpowder, thereby distracting the audience by pulling them out of the moment. Additionally, all the smells over time got a bit overwhelming. Overall, the idea was just a complete fiasco. But it occurred to me that there was perhaps one film that would be able to pull off the Smellovision venture. One film where lingering smells would have no problem being welcome from scene to scene. One film where the smells would only harmonize the message even further. Yes, we're talking about Shrek, boys! Oh yeah! But surely no one would want smells that are all entirely unpleasant.
They stink?
Yes. No.
True, yet here lies the key. We literally open the movie with Shrek in an outhouse, setting him up as the
Smelly ogre.
First scenes in films are extremely important because they have to lay the groundwork, the tone, and the themes for the upcoming sequences. Making Shrek disgusting to humans, thus making him an outcast, is what the whole movie is about. He feels ostracized and judged because of what he is. If you ask me, disgusting smells would further help me feel immersed.
Whew, Shrek, did you do that? Man, you gotta warn somebody before you just crack one off. My mouth was open and everything.
Believe me, donkey, if it was me, you'd be dead. It's brimstone.
Didn't you say lingering smells would be a problem, you might ask? Usually, yes, but that's just it. There are so few scenes without Shrek in it that my immersion wouldn't be bothered. None of the characters take baths, so even if we're introduced to brimstone or campfire, the smells lingering would feel as if we're smelling characters with slowly fading stenches from their clothes and or fur. Many of the film locations also aren't prone to good smells. We have literal swamps, volcanoes, which often smell sulfurous, castles with horses, or crowds of people who bathed once or twice a month. This is medieval times, folks. And farms, which often smell of manures or fertilizers. Essentially, this is such a stinky film that all the scents would flow naturally from one to the next. Let's not forget all the belches and passing gas that happens in this franchise.
Shrek? What? It's a compliment. Better out than in, I always say.
Well, it's no way to behave in front of a princess.
Thanks.
That was the Shrek.
Better out than in. Better out than in. Better out than in.
That's my line.
Excuse me.
Better out than in, I always say, eh, Fiona? Look, there's Bloodnut, the flatulent. You can guess what he's famous for.
All right, now I know you're making this up.
No, look. There he is, and there's the group of hunters running away from his stench.
There's a final juicy, oniony layer to the perfection of a Shrek Smellovision picture.
Layers! Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
Shrek is a movie that was made entirely to jab at the formulaic, perfect sweetness in Disney films.
Please keep up on the crafts, shine your shoes, wipe your face. Do love is, do love is, do love is a
Literally, Shrek uses pages of a fairy tale book to wipe his bum on the opening sequence in the outhouse. Every time a musical number happens or a character tries to sing, the character gets interrupted in some way. In Fiona's song, she blows up a freaking bird with the pitch of her voice. Robin Hood and his gang start dancing and singing, but Fiona beats them all up. Shrek tells Donkey to shut up every time he tries to sing.
My problems have all gone. There's no one to deride me. But you gotta have friends.
Stop singing!
Sing it with me, Shrek. I can't wait to get on the road again.
What did I say about singing?
Well, can I whistle?
No.
Well, can I hum it?
All right.
Wow. Let's do that again.
No! Donkey. Two things, okay? Shut up.
This movie even has an entire character who is the embodiment of corporate Disney, Lord Farquaad. He arrests and bans every fairy tale creature that we know from books and are rarely depicted in film. They don't belong in his
Perfect world.
This perfect world that is completely sanitized from reality. His castle in Duloc is a jab at Disneyland, which sees dollar signs on every character. The castle is designed like a theme park with merchandise everywhere. Also, nothing brings me more joy than when this poor sap gets scared of Shrek and runs as fast as he can through all the dividers. Heck, the movie even modeled the Dragon's Keep holding Fiona after the Cinderella Disney castle. They literally took an iconic Disney icon and represented it as a crumbled castle in shambles. Like, dang Shrek, you couldn't get more anti-Disney if you tried. Now, why does this have anything to do with Smellovision, you ask? Because its foul odors would have to be the final piece of the perfect anti-Disney masterpiece. You see, When Walt Disney was designing his dream theme park, he knew that smells are powerful parts of creating good atmosphere and trigger long-term memories full of fondness. There are parts of the park that pipe out the smell of freshly baked chocolate chip cookies to create a home-like atmosphere. So a Smellovision Shrek with horrendous smells, it would be a literal opposite of Walt Disney's ideals, with every bodily function depicted on screen. As you would sit in the Smellovision picture, your eyes would water from the stench and from the knowledge that you are seeing the perfect satire. Every fart, every belch is a fight against sanitized films for kids that are too afraid to depict that reality can be hard. And that, my friends, is why Shrek was meant to become a Smellovision picture. Any entrepreneurs out there? This is your chance.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
It's all ogre now. Shrek leaves through my window.
End of story. Bye-bye. See you later.